Well, last and certainly not least is the mixed doubles final. Zhang and Zhao Yunlei, the #1 seeds against the British giant killers. Could it really end in gold for Chris Adcock and Imogen Bankier?
China, the #1 seeds, Zhang and Zhao Yunlei.
Well, Zhao Yunlei's already missed out on a gold medal once today in the women's doubles. This was in their semi-final yesterday. Only in call for one set yesterday, of course, after the injury to Margin.
And from England and Scotland, please welcome Chris Adcock and Imogen Bankier.
Oh, what a feeling. It's the World Championships. It's in the United Kingdom. And the Anglo-Scottish duo arrived to a hero's welcome. This is how they reacted yesterday. Well, are we going to see more moments of joy like that today from this British pair? Who believes in fairy tales? Jill?
I do.
Well, they have gone on an unbelievable ride. Where's the journey going to end here for Bankier and Adcock? The first British pair to play in a world final since Gail Earns and Nathan Robertson when they went on and won gold in Madrid in 2006. But they are facing the #1 seeds. They have beaten, of course, the #2 seeds yesterday. They've beaten the #3 pairing. They've beaten the #8 seeds and the #15 seeds, but Zhang and Zhao Yunlei.
Well, they're playing so well at the moment, the British combination, that anything is possible. It really is, and it depends how Zhao Yunlei is going to react after losing her women's doubles final. You know, it's there's a whole lot of scenarios that could affect the way the players perform today. And of course, you know, I think that the Chinese pair will be nervous. They will have seen that the British combination, as you say, they've beaten the #15, 8, 4 and 2 seeds. You know, they're in great form.
Well, here is Zhang and Zhao Yunlei, world #1 pair. World #1 for the last 27 weeks, 4 victories from 7 events in 2011, including 2 Super Series events out of 3. And that includes their last event in Indonesia as well. Only lost 3 times this year. This is how they've reached here. And of course, only had to play 1 set yesterday against Shu Chen and Margin when Margin picked up that ankle injury. But it's been a fairly straightforward route to the final so far for them. Well, they started the week as the world rank #20. Right now 18, that's obviously going to go up. They started with a negative win-loss ratio of 5 and 6. That's all changed now as well. Lots has changed in the last 7 days for Chris Adcock and Imogen Bankier.
Yes, it really has, and it's been just wonderful to see how they've grown in confidence, how they've really risen to the occasion, and look at these list of results. That is astonishing.
Yeah, 4 of those are seeded pairs. The only ones that weren't were Ung and Gao in the first round from Canada. Came from a set down against Takeda and Shiota, and ever since have been riding the crest of a wave. Jakob Sundberg of Denmark is the umpire for this final. And Eric Des Roches is the service judge. So they'll be making the key calls. All the families are here. Rob, Chris's brother there in the centre. Father Paul, Mother Dee. Behind them, the Bankier family, Ian and Elaine, the mum and dad. There's Elaine. Oh, their nerves must be, they look pretty relaxed, you have to say.
Yeah, well, it's just been a sensation for the British pair to, you know, come through all the matches they've come through. There was so much talk prior to these World Championships about the medal hopes, where it was going to come from, and what talk there was all surrounding Nathan Robertson and Jenny Walwork, you know, and this pair have sort of come from nowhere and they've produced the best badminton of their lives. Sport is about taking opportunities. My goodness, haven't they grasped opportunities? Everybody says playing at home is an advantage, but it also brings its pressures. But the British pair here have grasped the opportunity with both hands, and I love to see that in young athletes.
They have met twice before, these pairs, and they're not too revealing. The last time was at Malaysia, but that only lasted 10 points.
On my right, Zhang, Zhao, China.
That's because the British pair were too ill to carry on. And the other meeting was last year in Germany, and the British pair had a match point.
Yes, they did in the deciding game. They were 21-20 up, but didn't convert. Now, if they can get that close, that just proves this is possible. You have to believe, there's a player going into this, you have to believe you can do it.
Well, could it really end in gold for Bankier and Adcock? That's long. First point goes their way.
Well, very nervous start.
Well, we keep saying all week they've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, the first serve, I say a nervous start because the first serve was shocking, really. It was very, very loose. And then the error, well, two returns, error from the Chinese. So all four players just need to settle a little.
Into the net from Imogen Bankier, who Chris Adcock said after yesterday's win is the best female in mixed doubles in the world right now.
Well, the way she's played the quarterfinal, semi-final, I don't think I'd disagree. Oh, that's loose. Well, yesterday in their semi-final against the Indonesians, Tantoy Ahmad and Liliana Natsir, I thought the British pair was so relaxed. They were really going for their shots from the start. Now, I know that Chris made an error there, but yesterday I think he would have either played the block or played it flat over the net. Definite nerves, and that's quite understandable. It'd be very odd if they weren't nervous.
This Chinese pair have been China's flag holders in the mixed double since Zheng Bo and Ma Jin stopped playing together after winning last year's gold medal at the World Championships. And suddenly, Britain's flag bearers are these two.
That's clever from Zhang Nan.
4-3.
Yeah, saw the gap.
And we saw in the women's doubles final earlier what Zhao Yunlei is capable of doing at the net.
Yeah, clever by the Chinese, keeping Imogen at the back of the court. But she stood her ground. Didn't try and do anything too fancy, just kept the shuttle going in a downward direction, and that's good, clever play.
Well, Wembley was bursting with pride last night when these two showed that nothing was impossible.
Service over.
Well, we've talked about it all week, but the serve, return of serve and third shot are absolutely vital. It sets the tone of the rally.
That'll make him feel a bit better.
Yeah, definitely.
Opening up the shoulders, smashing a couple through.
5-all.
Bankier and Adcock edge ahead in the early stages of this mixed doubles final.
Well, he may have made the error, but he's right to try and take that early, rather than just playing that on the backhand. Look, he's trying to play the round-the-head shot, leaping from the base position, trying to do the right thing. That's fine. Oh, that's so good from Zhao Yunlei.
7-6.
Well, these are two fairly new pairs, aren't they, really? Just a year together. And World Championship gold obviously awaiting.
Yeah, but what's interesting from that last rally is that Bankier's not afraid to take her opponent on at the net. Yeah, well, again, may have made the mistake, but she was refusing to lift the shuttle, wanted to play back to the net.
Happy to watch it go along there, Chris Adcock.
Now, when the British pair, or while they're this end of the court, it's quite all right. Just, you don't have to hit the shuttle hard. In fact, it's a very good thing possibly not to hit it hard, because then your opponents defensively have to put pace on the shuttle. And with the drift in this Wembley arena, they are likely to hit long a couple of times.
Well, there's just been a few points over the last 3 or 4, which I think will settle both players down nicely. They've made a good beginning there, got a slight lead. But some nice shots at the net, some nice overheads from Adcock. Looking pretty in pink right now. brilliant. Fantastic from Bankier.
Yes, her reading of the game, her willingness to go for the interceptions has been just fantastic this week. Well, this is a really intriguing encounter between these two pairs because, you know, both the women on court are such very, very good mixed doubles players. They're both just refusing to be backed off from the net, both standing their ground.
Well, it's been a very tight affair so far. It's only a slight lead for the world #1 pair. 11-10 right now in this opening set, but you feel it's got a long way to go, this match. Normally we would try and listen in on Peter Jeffrey and Graham Hurrell when they're talking, but a bit difficult in the noise.
No, and it's interesting that only Peter Jeffrey has come out to talk to the players. Graham Hurrell.
20 seconds.
Not confusing things. One coach with one clear message. I think that's the way.
Well, 9 of the last
11-10. Play.
well, 9 of the last 10 gold medals in these World Championships have gone China's way.
11-all.
Yeah, just enough pace on that return of serve from Adcock. That's clever. This is a good rally.
It's out. Well, you can understand them being pumped up.
12-11.
Did talk yesterday about remaining calm. So difficult to do.
Well, that was thoughtful play, I have to say, from Zhang, because he's going to hit it hard there, then realises that perhaps he's not as close to the net as he would like to be, and therefore just goes for placement.
And Chris, unfortunately, just clipped Imogen's leg there with his racket, but she's fine.
Good defence.
It was in. Zhao Yunlei leaving it mistakenly.
best of serves. Wanted to try and do something different, and I'm all for mixing it up. But the flick serve just simply wasn't deep enough, wasn't high enough either.
Into the net from Zhao.
14-13.
We're reaching that stage of the opening set, aren't we, Jill, where it's really going to be critical now.
Very much so. Who's going to have the courage? Not only courage, but character.
Yeah, Adcock and Bankier really have not really been in such company before this week. They've been playing some of the bigger events, but not with much success, whereas you're talking about a pair opposite them that in their first year on tour reached 6 finals, won 3 titles. Another 4 have followed in 7 events.
That's where Zhao Yunlei is so good. You know, when she starts intercepting at the net, she's always placing the shuttle so that it's very, very difficult for opponents to get the shuttle away. And then eventually she will get through with her attacking play. That's good.
Brilliant defensive work from Zhao Yunlei, but Chris Adcock wouldn't let it go, would he?
Good return of serve.
16-15.
Hit towards the left shoulder of Adcock. Great placement.
Points ahead now. Zhang and Zhao here.
How many players in world badminton would have turned and tried to play a backhand there? Zhao Yunlei, very unusual. She's so aggressive, such a presence at net, and determined to keep playing the forehand.
Idea. And this first set starting to slip out of British hands.
18-15.
Well, she mustn't get dispirited about that because, as you say, Richard, that was the right idea. She's got to threaten the net. There's no good coming from below the shuttle. She's got to come from above it. And that's what she was trying to do. Completely mistimed shot.
Two more points for the opening set for Zhang and Zhao. And they have game points suddenly.
20, game point, 15.
6 points in a row from the Chinese pair. We talked about critical points, and they've made them count. Ruthless, absolutely ruthless at the end of that set from Zhao Yunlei and Zhang. But remember, Adcock and Bankier lost the first set against the number 15 seeds, Ikeda and Shiota, and they managed to turn it around then. Well, they're going to have to do it again here again, because Zhang and Zhao have taken the opening set 21-15. What was the difference then in the last third of that match?
Quite simply, Zhao Yunlei. I mean, her intercepting at the net, putting the British pair under so much pressure.
It's incredible how hope and expectations can suddenly crumble in the space of in a couple of minutes, can't they? And it's 15-14 up. These British two were, you know, looking good, and then bang, sets over.
So no swing. Yeah, when you get the good one in, you up early, you just push the next one down with no swing. You can't hit that one hard. They're not giving you it. Right, so that's pretty critical, guys. Okay? That's it.
Well, some talking obviously at the interval here. How do they stop Zhao Yunlei from doing the damage at the front of the court, Jill?
Well, Peter Jeffrey is suggesting that, you know, they shouldn't worry about trying to hit hard early on. He's advising them that, in fact, take the pace off a lot, but if you are going to hit down, just make sure it's steep so that Imogen can go forward to the net. She, who's been brilliant all week, has just been slightly hesitant. The last 5 or 6 points of that opening game, Zhao Yunlei moved closer and closer to the net. Now, Bankier has got to, even if she's not hitting the shuttle, her movement within the rally has got to threaten Zhao Yunlei. Yeah, good. And again. That's it. Don't worry about that as far as the British are concerned. Trying to do the right things, and it was very good to see the movement of Bankier in that. Don't give the Chinese freedom to dictate the pace of the rallies.
And I think the fact that they have already this week, you know, faced the prospect of being a set down, puts them in good stead to not panic and know that this is the first of two.
Yes. A pity from Bankier's point of view. I don't know if you noticed earlier in the rally a big swish of her racket while she was at the net. Now, she was nowhere near intercepting it. That was a message. That's a clear intimidation. Part of the game, there's nothing unsporting about that. That's what she should be trying to do. Intimidate by being ready, rack it up, looking for the shuttle. That's very good. Yeah, she is brilliant, isn't she, Zhao Yunlei?
Yep, she doesn't want 2 silvers on the day, does she?
That's a super return.
The crowd looking for some British resolve.
Well, the luck of the net cord.
4-2.
Yeah, good to see the British players still smiling at each other, still offering encouragement. Dr. Zhang and Sir Craig Reedy. Current president of the International Badminton and former president. Well,
similar story, really, isn't it?
yeah. And I have to say, for the last couple of days, the number of times Bankier has tried that and it's worked beautifully. You know, whether there's a slight bit of tension or what it is, or whether opponents are making it just slightly more tricky for her to play that shot. Whatever it is, the difference is minute, but my goodness, doesn't it affect the end result? Now, home fans will be a little bit anxious at the moment.
Yeah, it's starting to slip through their fingers here. Silver medals is a fantastic achievement, but they're here, they're in a final, and they want gold.
That's the steep smash that Peter Jeffrey, the coach, was urging them to use. This is super. Involves the net player and well put away by Bankier. Well, our colleague Morton Frost was saying the other day, you have to dare to win. And we're at the situation where the British pair have got to say to themselves, right, we've got to go for it. We're a game down. Not that they weren't going for it in the opening game, but you know what I mean. You've got to have the courage to stick to what you've been doing all week. It's been working so well.
But again, the net just working against them there, taking the shuttle out on the serve. Full court.
8-3.
Yeah, well, it was a brilliant serve, has to be said, and Bankier just couldn't get out of the way. Her partner called to her to leave it. Look at the positioning of the two women in that rally. Zhao Yunlei absolutely standing her ground at the net, and Bankier forced back in court.
Well, British badminton's been on a high thanks to these two over this week at the Wembley Arena for these World Championships. But right now, they are facing a monumental task if they are to retrieve the situation against the world's #1 pair.
10-3.
This is a pair, they're an item off the court in Zhao and Zhang.
That's a good return of serve.
Such a big lead, though. They'll keep going, I don't doubt that for a second. They'll keep chasing the cause until it's completely lost, with another set in the bag for the Chinese duo. Well, if ever there was a mountain for them to climb, it couldn't be much steeper than this, could it? Zhang Nan and Zhao Yunlei are closing in on a 5th gold medal for China. 11-4 in the second set.
You come off as you go, she gets hard in defence. Yeah, so you can rotate out. Yeah? We just need to give her as much of the shuttle as possible, because he's just having that good spell. Right, and then when he's not getting as much of the shuttle, he'll fall off. Yeah? Alright? Don't forget to use the back.
20 seconds.
You've got to go over.
20 seconds.
Keep making sure that you're taking it.
Well, it's been a fabulous day in London. Fabulous week, really. And these two have done much to bring joy to the local and home support. But they look to be waking up from what had been a wonderful dream. Got to start going on a run of points here at Bankier and Adcock. Even that might not be enough.
Yeah, double hits. Both the Chinese players touch the shuttle.
So hard to keep believing, Jill, when you're in a situation like this as the British pair are.
Yes and no. I mean, at the start of the week, they wouldn't have believed they'd be in the final today. So, you know, they know that incredible things can happen. What they mustn't do is panic and say to themselves, oh no, our chance is going. You know, don't panic.
Keep playing the way they have, you mean?
Tactically, they're trying to do the right things. It's just not working for them at the moment. A couple of misses on attempted kills at the net from Bankier. A couple of mishits from the back of the court from Adcock. And that's just what's turned it.
And this is a pair that won the All England last year. They'd only played twice together before.
13-5.
They've clicked together. They've gone on well off the court, and they've swept all before them so far this week. And it looks as if it's going to be a familiar story as far as that's concerned in this final.
Oh,
brilliant.
My word. Well, what do you do against that?
You have to admire it.
Yeah, very much so. And doing to Bankier what Bankier was doing to opponents earlier in the week with the cross-court net shot.
Now Zhang Nan's turn to lay the deft little net shot.
15-5.
Look at the spirit there. That's great to see.
Yeah, very good.
I've got to say I'm impressed when you're 15-5 down like that, to look at each other, to smile, to high five, to great resolve.
Yeah, good character.
But right now they are being beaten by the better pair.
Good judgment. Looked at the shuttle, looked down towards the line, looked back at the shuttle, made the decision, and it was the right decision.
A 10-point lead in this second game for Zhao and Zhang. And that's just become an even greater and surely unassailable advantage.
the way. Good movement, good anticipation, and good way to finish off. Good vision.
And at the start of this week, people were talking about the fact that really Britain didn't have a hope of a medal in the Olympics next year. They do now, Jill.
Well, I hope attitudes will start changing, because certainly there's a pair here. Well, they've shown us this week just what they're capable of. Oh, it's well long of the back line.
Yeah, it's just been a match too far for them.
18-7.
But what a journey it's been. Imogen Bankier said she didn't want this week to end on Twitter this morning. Again, fine margins, but it's just not going their way. It's been a classy display from the world number ones, who have been top of the world rankings for more than half a year now. And in just 32 minutes, the Chinese pair of Zhao Yunlei and Zhang Nan have match points, and 13 of them.
20, match point 7.
For the second year running, China have swept all before them at the World Championships. It's 5 out of 5. And the British dream of gold has ended in emphatic manner by Zhao Yunlei and Zhang Nan. Comprehensive 21-15, 21-7. Credit to the winners, but more than a thought for those that were beaten today.
Yeah.